Hey guys, what is up? It's your girl Grace Tori, and I am back with a whole new podcast episode. Today I am just wrapping up spring cleaning. I still need to declutter my closet, but other than that, we pretty much have done it all. And I'm exhausted. Every muscle in my body hurts. But I have raging ADHD, as you do or don't know. So cleaning is hard for me. The only thing that really helps is my raging OCD. So I thought that I would share tips for people who have low motivation when it comes to getting spring cleaning done. Whether it's ADHD or you just aren't like the type of person who particularly enjoys cleaning and you kind of push it off. So these are my tips and tricks from living on my own for, oh my gosh, 7 years now, which is kind of crazy, that I have utilized to keep my house clean. Specifically though, with spring cleaning, the things that I've done to help with that. So yeah, if you have low motivation or you hate cleaning, these are the things that I do to get it done. But yeah, if you would like to support the podcast, that would mean literally everything to me. It's free, it only takes a second. Like, comment, subscribe, follow, depending on what platform you're on, what you're able to do. That would be absolutely amazing. Leave a rating and a review. And yeah, let's go ahead and jump on in. I'm Grace Tori, and you're listening to That Girl the Podcast. Grab a beverage of choice and settle in, because the new episode is starting now. The first thing I'm going to say is one of the things that takes me so long is I have like an emotional attachment to a lot of things, like, oh, I wore this dress to this event, or oh, this and that. And I think that it's important and takes way less time if you're just more brutal with giving away things when it comes to the decluttering stage. So be brutal. Like, if you haven't worn something in a year, then get rid of it. Like, you don't need it. Especially if you're in your 20s or like one of those ages where you're really going through like a season of discovery, which you can actually do at any age. If you are like trying to find your style all over again and you feel like something doesn't resonate with you, but you're like, I wore this to this, it's not an animate object. Like, it doesn't know. You have pictures, you have the actual memories. Get rid of it. So be brutal with decluttering. It makes it go by a lot faster because you're not like debating it, and you get a lot more done. And the more that you declutter, the less you have to organize. So that's kind of my motivation. Use natural cleaners when possible. This is kind of more of a PSA, but I know I get a headache when I don't use like very natural cleaners, so that I like to use that as an excuse to be like, oh, I'm done for the day, like da 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 da. And you want to eliminate the opportunity for excuses, so I use a steamer for a lot, as much as I possibly can, and that eliminates it. I also have dogs, so I try and use, and bunnies, so I try and use pet safe as much as possible. So using natural cleaners not only is better for you, better for your house, it also prevents you from having a cop-out, as someone who prefers to have a cop-out. Next is open windows as much as possible. This just gets the fresh air in, and for me, that's a huge like serotonin booster. And it makes me more motivated to clean because I just have that fresh air. It kind of gives me energy. It's great. I mean, take an allergy pill if you need to, as an allergy girly. New to the club. This is my second year having allergies. I hate it. But if you take your allergy pill, open your windows, and that'll give you like a boost of serotonin. One thing I like to do in terms of scheduling is I do one room a day decluttering. And by decluttering, I don't just mean like going through everything and getting rid of what I don't need. I also mean if there's anything where it's not supposed to be, I put it away. So declutter, put it away, and then the room is quote unquote clean. And then the next day I go in and I sweep and I mop and I wipe the tables down and I clean the windows and I do the deep cleaning. So declutter, and then the next day deep clean, and then I do one room per day. So it takes 2 days per room. If you're on a tight schedule, obviously that won't work, but it helps me from getting overworking myself because I hyperfixate as someone with ADHD, and I also hate cleaning, so I don't know, like, I get burnt out really quickly. So I try to do that, and it helps me balance as someone who works from home and has to juggle a bunch of things. Like, it keeps me in check, so I really like that schedule. If you're looking for a way to, like, casually spring clean, you can do this while you're working an 8 to 5 or whatever, because it's not overwhelming. And you eventually will get every single room done. It just may take a little bit longer than tornado cleaning chaotically. If you know something's coming up where you're going to have people over, do this and just start earlier, and I promise you it'll make a world of a difference. And you'll be a lot more efficient, and like, it'll actually come out cleaner. You just have to make sure to keep it clean once you clean it. In terms of like long term, we do have a chore chart of things that we need to get done weekly. It's like a board, and then it's white, like, what's it called? A whiteboard. So we can erase it and rewrite it every week, and that helps us with knowing what needs done, because Josh can check off things as he gets them done, and I also can, and it has daily and weekly. So having the chore chart helps long term, but then also, like I said, decluttering 1 room a day, deep cleaning, writing down a plan for that really helps. So for example, there are like one-off things that you need to do. Like, I needed to go in my backyard and just pick up all of the dog toys, because yeah, they're gonna probably bring more toys in the backyard, but just doing like one sweep where I just get anything that's not quote unquote natural out of the backyard, then if they bring a ball or two, it's more manageable going forward, rather than just our backyard looking like a mess because there's 1,000 dog toys back there. So doing that, and writing that down, like, oh, today I'm gonna grab the dog toys, and then I'm also gonna do the weeds, and then and that's like one thing that you can, when you like tackle your backyard, you can do that. Or saying like, oh, I need to go and pick this up from the store because I need to fix this door, like the handle broke or whatever. Like, writing that down and writing it all down so that you can see it is super, super helpful. I have to be able to like visualize it. So I have to be able to see it and be like, okay, this is what's expected of me today. Or you can be like more vague and just write down like laundry room, bathroom, kitchen, and like that's your day that you're gonna declutter that space or deep clean that space. So write down a plan. Next is you're going to reframe cleaning in your mind. I viewed it for a really long time as like a chore, which it's literally like doing your chores. So yeah, one could argue it is a chore. But when in my mind, I'm like, oh, this is a chore. This is another thing to check off the list. Like, I don't want to do this, because I get really overwhelmed if my to-do list is too long. And I don't mean like fun things like reading my book or crocheting. I mean like things that like feel hard, like cleaning or getting something from the store, like running errands, like all of that stuff. It gets overwhelming. So I had to reframe cleaning as a form of self-care, because it is a form of self-care. Like, cleaning is important because your environment, like, it's really, really, really hard to thrive and be the best version of yourself in a dirty environment. And it's just one thing to check off your to-do list. I also have crippling anxiety. I just like have it all stacked up on a list. And yes, I'm diagnosed. I'm not just like saying this. So if the house is dirty, I like can't calm down, because I'm like, oh my gosh, like if I get everything done on my to-do list, I still need to clean, or I still need to do laundry, or I still need to da-da-da-da. And I am managing that, because things like doing laundry are just a constant revolving thing, but things like having a clean room where everything is in where it goes is very, very helpful, and makes it a lot easier to have a clean environment and focus on more important things like building a business or whatever it may be. So making sure that you reframe cleaning so that you can manage it and it also isn't like overwhelming. I don't know, just reframing it as self-care in my mind kind of made it click for me that it's not like this thing that I'm dreading, but it is a form of self-care. Like, I am loving myself and respecting myself by doing spring cleaning. At the same time, don't burn yourself out. This is kind of a key. I know as an ADHD girly, we have low motivation. It's hard to create dopamine doing daily tasks, but we also can hyperfixate. So it's a slippery slope where it's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this. Ugh. Or it's like, I'm going to get everything done and I'm just going to get it out of the way and I'm just going to do it all right now. And then you burn out very, very quickly and you don't want to do anything else and you physically cannot do it and it sucks and it's really hard. So that's why I recommend like decluttering one room and then deep cleaning it the next day, because for me, that was a good balance. If maybe you have a little bit more time on your hands, you can do a little bit more than that. But making a plan that works for you and your time frame, where you, one, are holding yourself accountable, so you're not just like doing the absolute bare minimum, you're actually getting stuff done that is feasible for you, but you're also not overwhelming yourself. That's like the balance, so that you don't burn yourself out and hurt yourself in the long run. One thing I've been doing that has made things a lot more enjoyable is listening to books. You know, I listen to books already because when I'm working, I usually have a book going or something, but I have been trying to really like dive into books that I really, really like, and then I'm really excited to listen to them. Like, I only have been listening to them when I'm doing something I don't want to do. So like I'm driving somewhere I don't want to go to, I'm cleaning and doing something like I don't feel like cleaning. But when I do that, it kind of tricks my brain, and then I get excited to listen to my book, like, oh, where did that leave off? What's the cliffhanger there? Or whatever it may be. And then I'm like, okay, like, this is my book listening time. I'm so excited. And I kind of go on autopilot where I'm listening, like, I'm cleaning, but I'm on autopilot, like, I'm disassociating. So I'm listening to my book, and I've found that that helps me a lot. So finding something to listen to while you work is really helpful and really enjoyable. Also, body doubling really helps. If you have someone else there, it kind of holds you accountable. This is a big thing for ADHD people, is just having someone else there. They don't even have to be cleaning, just sitting there. Something in your brain is like, oh, someone's sitting there, I have to clean because they expect me to clean, and then you do it. So that is another helpful thing. Give yourself daily incentives. So, like I said, listening to the book has really incentivized me to clean. But another thing is I'm reading Quicksilver right now, and I really, really enjoy that book. I'm almost done with it. So I've been incentivizing myself by saying, hey, the quicker you get this done, the more time you have to read. Or, hey, if you get this done, we can go get ice cream. Or, hey, if you get this done, you can go to the gym. Like, things that I want to do, but I'm like, oh, I can't do this unless I get everything else done. And I should be including the gym on my daily schedule regardless, because it's good for me. And don't you worry, I'm working on that. But there are days when it just doesn't make the list because things are so crazy, and it's like, I have to like kind of view it as a little treat. Like, hey, if you get this done, you can go to the gym. Or, hey, if you get this done, you can go watch a Disney movie. I've been watching a lot of old Disney movies lately, and it's been giving me a lot of joy. So things like that, like little daily things that are easy to incorporate. They, like, if you want to spend a bunch of money, go off, but you don't necessarily have to. And that gives me the push to get it done, because I am deep down just a little child. Don't forget to digitally clean. If I need a break from standing and mopping and whatever, and like my brain is still moving and going, I can digitally clean. So that means unsubscribing, unfollowing, things like that. I see you. Please don't include me in this if you love me. Hey, but unsubscribe, unfollow, clean out your photos, clean out your contacts, go through your laptop. I'm really bad about that, and making sure there's space. Digitally detoxing is really important as well, because you need to do it at least bare minimum once a year. You should be doing it more than that. I like to do 2 big cleans where I do like a spring cleaning and a fall cleaning. So that is typically when I do really big digital detox, but then I go through and do little ones throughout the year. So making sure that you are cleaning there and not just like physically. Yeah. One thing that I did that was really helpful, and I'm not done with this yet, but my mom has a storage unit, and so I just went up there and finally cleaned out some of my stuff that she had in there, and I still have a lot more that I need to go pick up and go through, but baby steps. And I went through those boxes and was able to minimize the amount of things that I had in storage, whether through donating or through throwing some of it out. Like, I didn't pack those boxes. My mom packed them because I was at college and she moved, so she just kind of threw everything in a box that was in my room. So going through it and being able to minimize it and actually know like what I have, because even if you were the one to pack those boxes, you don't remember half the time. So going through and being like, okay, that's where that is. Oh, okay, these pictures are here, this photo album's here, this yearbook's here. Like, if I ever need this for whatever reason, I know exactly where it is. So going through storage is really important. It helps you declutter. Whether you have a storage unit, whether you just have a couple boxes like in your garage or in your closet, like going through that is just as important as going through everything else. I would say that would be like the last thing I would go through, because I'd rather my kitchen be clean than my storage be done, but it needs to be on your list regardless, and you need to get it done no matter where it is. Like, make sure to do it. If you are donating, make sure you are donating to local organizations. Yes, it's good to donate to, Salvation Army and those franchises. I have heard some pretty gnarly things about Goodwill, allegedly, and I'm not going to, like, get into that because there's Netflix documentaries, there's Google, there's YouTube. It's kind of everywhere, so just, like, how picky they are and what they actually do with the stuff you donate. So I didn't realize, like, how little of it actually made it out to the storefront and what they were doing with the rest of it, because I thought I was doing, like, a good thing, but no, not really-ish. So I have been trying to donate to local organizations. I kind of have a good, like, idea of the organizations because I was in a sorority, and sororities all have philanthropies, and so I know a lot of the organizations in Lexington just from that. Like, one of mine that I had with my sorority was for women and children. So I am familiar with them and have a relationship-ish with them. So reaching out to your local networks. If you don't know what organizations are in your community that you can give to, that is just going to go and help someone else, or it's going to be utilized and it's not just going to be like thrown into a landfill, and you're not only helping the planet, but you're helping your neighbor, that is a great, great thing to do. So try and donate to local organizations, figure out who they are. Oftentimes, if you reach out, people are on the board or they volunteer, they're really involved, and they'll like literally come and pick it up from your front porch. So donate to local organizations if you can. Reach out on Facebook and things like that to figure out which ones are near you and which ones are accepting donations, because they might not always be accepting them. Next is, when it comes to organizing, when it comes to decor in your house, think outside the box and upcycle. So an example of this is, I needed a new toothbrush holder, and so I went through my stuff and I found a mason jar in my kitchen. And so I was like, oh, this would be perfect as a toothbrush holder, and it'd be kind of cute. You can paint it, you can decorate it. I just left it clear, but that is an example of upcycling something that I already had. If you really need something and you don't have it and you're like, man, I really need decor to go in this corner or in this spot in my house, definitely like thrift shop, go to those smaller places where people did donate items. I will say Goodwill has good home decor if you're purchasing from there. And then you can just spray paint it over it, vinyl it, leave it as is, and just clean it up. Like, think outside the box when it comes to items. What would like typically be a good, like what its typical use is. So for example, I took spice jars, like big spice jars, and they hold my dental floss and my mouth tape. So like, you can take something that isn't necessarily meant to be used for that and then utilize it in a different way. So that is what I mean by that. Like, you don't have to use something how it was meant to be used within reason. So if you need something, don't be afraid to like go through your extra stuff or go to like a secondhand place and make something your own. The last thing on my list is to make a plan for a future to keep up with the tidiness. I always make this goal when I spring clean or fall clean because I want to keep the house clean for as long as possible. Keep up with all the work that I did. And there is things like monthly dusting and things like that that you have to do. Like, but I don't want to have to do like a big clean where, oh my gosh, my kitchen was completely cluttered with stuff and it just got totally out of hand. Like, yeah, there's going to be weeks where there's probably stuff on the counter because we didn't really have time and it was a busier week, but I don't want it to get to the point where it's overflowing. So making a plan, and that's where the chore chart comes in handy, that's where the scheduling comes in handy, to keep up with a clean home moving forward, because the environment being clean is really important. We already talked about that. So that is everything for this podcast episode. I hope that you enjoyed it. I'm sorry I'm a little bit under the weather. I am just exhausted. I think I also might be getting a cold, so super awesome, super fun. If you celebrate St. Patrick's Day, I hope you had a great weekend. I was going to go out to do it, but I couldn't, and I'm so bummed. I hope you have a great actual St. Patrick's Day tomorrow. And yeah, I will see you guys next Sunday with a brand new podcast episode. Love you. Bye.